Hi guys, it's Clarice and it is June the 7th and I'm just adjusting to make sure everything is good here while you guys are still rolling in. Let me just adjust my camera and stuff. So happy Sunday, hope everyone is doing well. After last week's Saturday birthday party painting, we're going to come back to our Sundays at 2, and today again we're going to go back to our simple florals. For today I was thinking to do something light and easy and nothing too complicated. This is something I did a couple of weeks ago, and it took me actually quite a bit of time because I was really concentrating on trying to get it really loose and florally. So we're not going to do something like this. I think we're going to concentrate on just one flower today, and then from that we can do a lot of repetition and kind of create something nice by just doing the one floral. So what I had in mind, let me just make sure that I have the live session available here so that if you guys are commenting, I can see your comments and interact with you. Yes, so back to what I was saying. I have decided to do a little more detailed of a session or a painting session on the magnolias. Now, I did about a week ago, I put out for the birthday week, I did the magnolia wreath in the form of a C. And so today I think we're just going to concentrate on doing the loose magnolias and then possibly just the whole blending with the green and the brown and, you know, trying to get the soft pinks to kind of flow in. So I think that's what we'll focus on today. And let's just see where my creative direction takes me. If I'm inspired, I might just also end up doing some other quick florals that kind of might work with the magnolia. So let's just see. Virginia, hi, welcome. Nice to have you, and thanks everyone for joining again. So to start off, I'm just going to let you know that what materials I'm using. So I'm using the Canson watercolor paper. It's fairly inexpensive and effective for regular paintings on this level. For my brushes, I am not going to be using the 12, so I'll put that aside. I will be using the number 8 Princeton, my silver black velvet in the number 4, the mop brush in the number 1. Sometimes I kind of get confused between silver black velvet and the mop brush, and you hear me blabbering during my tutorials. So we're going to be using these, and I am going to also keep the silver black velvet in the number 8 handy just in case I need to use it. Sometimes it helps if you're blending and you don't want color on it, but you don't want to waste the color on the other brush, so that's my technique. And for colors now, I am going to be using, hi Margaret, oh thanks so much for the love, thank you for joining. So for colors, I'm going to be using I believe this is let me look at my chart. I think this is the dark brown from St. Petersburg, and I believe it's called, I'm not sure if it's the umber. It might be the umber, but it's just like a really dark brown that I have. So just pick a dark brown that you have and it'll work. Like I always like to say, be inspired by the colors that you like. So try and, if you see me use a color, you don't have to follow me exactly. Be creative, think outside the box, use the colors you like, see how it works. This video will be posted as well, so you can always redo it in the colors that I suggest as well. So this is why I very loosely kind of tell you which colors I'm using. Also because when the inspiration hits me, like I cannot plan for things like that. So that's how it is. Okay, so brown for that. And I'm going to be using the Madder Lake, which is also in the St. Petersburg collection. And then for the light green, I am going to be using a combination of the green and a yellow. And the green that I'll be mixing with the yellow is this light green here. And I believe it's called yellowish green. Again, St. Petersburg White Knights. And the yellow I'm mixing it with is the cadmium lemon that comes with it. So we'll do that for the magnolias, and if inspiration hits and I do some other stuff along the way, I'll keep you posted as to what colors we're using, but for now this is what we're doing. So let's get started. I just want to look at the comments really quickly before I start. Hi from South Carolina. Hello. Hi everyone. Oh, hi Mikey. Hi Pamela. Hi Margaret. Thank you. And hi Beverly. Good evening. How's it going? Thank you so much for the cake recipe. I have to try it. And hi Marie from Ireland. Welcome. All right, so we're going to start now. And to start off, I am just going to talk very briefly about how these, let me show you again what the florals look like. So this is what they look like, and they're very, very loose. So I think what we'll do, our course of action should be to create this this section right here. So I'll just loosely do a very brief outline of where things are supposed to be so we can give our layout some direction. And then we'll do this one as well because I like how it kind of creeps up here, and then we can always have some creeping up in between there. So let's begin. And if anyone would feel if anyone feels like you would benefit from having this image posted so you can reference it later on if you decide to do this tutorial again, please just let me know in the comments, and I'm more than happy to kind of post it on there if I can find the link to it, because this is an image I've saved down. So, okay, so pencil. And I'm just going to do a quick rendition of where this is. I just want to make sure that you can see my sheet of paper. Perfect. Just put my brushes down here. All right, so quickly going to draw this. The nice thing about magnolias is you can really be very, like you can create your own pattern to it. Like you don't have to completely draw or mimic the exact version of what's happening in the picture. But I like the direction of the branches, so I'm going to give it slight direction based on the image, and then I'll kind of wing it and do my own thing. So just really quickly, this way I know exactly where my dark brown is going to be before I kind of go in with the green, because this is going to involve a bit of blending with the green and the brown. And so over here we have one flower, I believe. Wait. Yes, right here. So we're just gonna do a quick rough section here, and here's the flower. So you can either do the rough as I am doing, or just create something of your own accord. Just have it mimic as best as you can. Just loosely doing these florals, and then there's two right down here. Again, I want to make sure that you can see this. Okay. So we have one. I don't want it to be too much to the bottom, so I'm going to make sure that I don't prolong the branches all the way down, just because of the height of my sheet happening here. I don't want it to be too much to the bottom. So just going to do some rough drawing of it. And as long as I know where the petals are going to be and where the bottom is going to be, I'm good to go, because that's essentially what I'm looking for, just so I don't lose out on the space and stuff, because time will be of the essence for this one. So these are like two side by side, and it's going down, and then we have another one kind of coming up over here. And let's just have this branch go all the way to the top and kind of fade off. This was just a bud there. Okay, so this one is going to be this way, and we have just the one flower, I believe, but we could do more because it's our painting, it's our work of art. So if we want more than one, we can definitely do more than one. So I'm just going to do like a smaller bud here, because we don't have any buds, we just have like big florals here. So I'll do a small bud here. The buds are also kind of nice and easy to do, so that helps. And then it kind of just goes down. So the one flower that we have is over here on this stem or branch, and I'm just doing the bottom of it, and then the petals are kind of like this. And now the petals will involve a lot of blending, and then some will kind of look just like a very soft pink or white, just to kind of indicate that it's white. So I'll have to kind of be on that in terms of my explanation. So let's see how that goes. All right, so this is my basic rendition of where the magnolias will be. I think I can, so we have some here, we have one here. I think I want to do one just off to the side here. So I'm just gonna, this is my own creation. The image doesn't have something like this here, but I think I would like to do a bud here. So I'll do a bud. We have one here, one here, one here. I like to do things in threes, so this is perfect. There's 3 here. Well, there's actually 4, but this looks like 1. And we will begin. Perfect. So we're starting off with using the number 4 for the branches. Oh, I see a couple of comments. Let me just quickly have a look. Kathy, I'm glad you're glad. Happy to be here as well. Hi from Utah. Hi, Julie. Hi, Helen. Yeah, Kathy, absolutely. Use your watercolor pencils if that's easier. The only reason I'm sketching here, as I mentioned before, is because I want to make sure that I have some sort of direction because of how these branches are. It's not quite like the regular, you're just putting flowers all over the place. So it's just to help me. Let's see, Mikey. Hi, New Jersey. Welcome, Mikey. Perfect. Awesome. People are conversing and helping each other. I like to see that. That's great. So starting off with the brown that I have and my number 4. If you have a palette handy, absolutely keep it handy. It'll help you, I guess, save color as well. But I like to kind of get the dark color right from the little color cake itself. So I'm using this, and let me make sure I have my water close by. And we're going to start off with doing the branch first. So let's start off over here, and I'm just going to make sure that it's nice and dark. And at this point, I'm realizing that I want the little buds that are sticking out, which are, in fact, some of them are green. I want the green to kind of blend in with the brown as I'm laying it down. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to introduce the number 8 because the tip of it is pointed enough that I can get away with adding some of the green without it being a number 4 size brush. And I'm mixing my yellow and my green, and I just have that off to the side. And because I'm doing two things at the same time, I can't really show it to you here. But as I mentioned before, I'm using the cadmium yellow and the light green from St. Petersburg. You can use any which ones that you have, like just mix a light green and a yellow. And then I'm going to go back here and do a slight protrusion in the brown and then top it off with the green. And then we have that nice little blend happening. That is what I want to see. So I'm just going to take it directly from the cake pan, because this, the branches are quite dark for the magnolias. So we're just going to go ahead and give it some direction and add some of these green pods right away. And you see the nice blend, and this is where you realize like the beauty of watercolor. It allows you to blend the colors in quite nicely. And then we're doing the little, I think this is like a bud. It's not pink though, so I'll just add a swipe of brown because it's like a browny green. And then I'm just going to add my green onto it. And then if you have some white space in between here and there, that's totally fine. Like, go for it. And then we're going to go ahead. Actually, before we go higher, because the floral kind of intersects with this, it's best to do the flower first because it'll be lighter. And then you go ahead with your dark brown. So I have that little blob of brown that I put there, so I'm just gonna take it off so it doesn't interfere when I start painting the petals. So we're gonna start with the petals now. And for this, I will introduce my Silver Black Velvet 8. And here's where the Madder Lake Red comes in, which is going to be our pink. So we need a very, very light version of it to kind of show. But here's my technique. So I'm going to take some color and I'm going to mix it on the side. Let's just mix it on here. And I have some purple from the previous magnolias I did, and I'm okay with it mixing with it because I don't want it to be too pink. I like the mix of purple and pink, giving it a mauvey kind of look. So we'll do that. And then what I'm going to do next is take the color that I have with this, and I'm going to lightly add some strokes. Let me just turn this over so you can see, and I can have better reach. So all I'm doing is I am going to add strokes that are going in, and it's just a very rough version, and making sure that it's nice and thick, good amount of color. And then I'm going to take my squirrel mop brush, and I'm going to, with just water on it, I'm just going to drag and then push the color down. And you see how it gives you that nice flare of color. Love it. So same thing over here. You have the drawing of the petals, so make sure you leave some space in between so it doesn't become one big blob. Here, see, because I didn't leave some space, so it's kind of become blobby, plus there's a lot of water. So keep your paper towel handy as well, because that'll help. And to kind of fix this, what I would do is just take any one of your brushes with just water on it and just kind of swipe down if you don't want it to be as dark as this petal right here. Just swipe the color down and it kind of takes most of it away. So that's great. We're going back in with the mop and creating another petal before this dries up. As you can see, a lot of it has dried up quite a bit because we were busy fixing that bit there. So we're just doing that, pushing the color down. If there is too much water pooling, just dab it away. And that can happen because the squirrel mop brush holds a lot of water. So be prepared for that. And then if you feel like you want a little bit more of a blend happening, just go back in, drag the water down or the color down as you're painting. And that's good. And now lastly, the last thing we're going to do is, while it's still wet, just take your number 4 and using just the tip of the brush, just kind of go down and give it some lines, because that's what the magnolias have. So I'm just drawing some very faint, thin water lines onto the petals. And you can also try, if you feel like it's too much of a stark end at the top, just go from the bottom to the top. But then it does that kind of fade if you're still damp. So try both ways and see which one works for you, which rendition you like better, and stick with it. But it does have these little lines and it's a nice texture to your painting. So make sure you do add that. And then just using the number 4, I'm just going to add a couple of loose lines here to indicate more of an extension to the petals, and then leave it at that. Then once that is done, we're going back in with the number 4, and we want to add the brown. So for the brown, we're just adding this, and then go back in with your green while it's still damp, and add the green as best as you can with the brown. Leave the white space, it's totally fine. And there you go, you have your magnolia. So let's give this some time to dry, then we can go in and add the rest of the branch that's going up. And we can now focus on this area right here. So moving on, let's just do this, adding the brown, and then adding some of the green to the tip. And then using the other number 8, we're just going to create, now because this is still damp, I'm going to make sure that as I'm laying my strokes of pink, I am not touching the brown or the green because I don't want it to mix as much. If it touches ever so lightly, that's okay, but just try not to have it touch too much so that it doesn't blend. Like I touched one right there, so it's given me a bit of a blend, so to speak. So adding as much color as I can, and then going back in with the squirrel mop. I'm going to create the same thing that I did before, and very loosely kind of making these petals, leaving some white space in between. And then you can just add some hints of background petals and just leave it very open-ended without coloring the whole petal in. And I'll go back in just to highlight the bottom some more and just add extra color so it spreads out nicely. There we go. And using my squirrel mop brush with just water on it, I'm just going to move around some of this color so it blends in nicely and doesn't look very abrupt. It's cheating, but it's okay. There we go. And I'm good with that, so I'm going to leave that as is. If you want to add little highlights like dots here and there to kind of make it look more, what's the word, loose, absolutely do that, because I feel like when you add open-ended strokes that way, it adds for a nicer touch, kind of like when you do a splatter almost. All right, so moving on to the next ones, we are going to now do these two at the bottom. I just want to make sure that you can see this properly. Yep. And so you're going to start in with the brown. Again, to get that nice blend, just making sure that it's nice and loose, putting the strokes quickly. And then once we have this done, we're going to go in and get some of the green that we've mixed. And I need to mix slightly more. So it's a nice light green, almost like a fluorescent yellow. And I'm just going to add some strokes while the brown to the brown area while it is still damp. And then we're going in with the number 8 Silver Black Velvet. We're getting some of our pink. And if you want to mix this pink in with some dark purple, you can do that, because like if you want to add like another variation of color to your drawing or your painting, that helps, like just a different variation of pink. So I've mixed it with some purple that I had on my palette, and I'm just adding some light strokes. In fact, if you want to go directly into a purple and kind of put it on in between the mix, so like that, I'm just adding some purple, by all means do it. And now I want to make sure that I have my squirrel mop brush patted dry, so it doesn't have too much water, and we're doing the petals that kind of has them bleeding into one another. Give that nice soft feel before things get dry. Now this has blended in over here, so like I said before, if you feel like it looks like a mistake, just go in with your number 4, wash out with just water on it, and just kind of go down so you are kind of pushing the color away. Give it some control, have some control over it. Yeah, there you go. And then I'm just going to add another stroke here. Oh, that was too much water in there. So you see when it runs like a river like that, you can just tell that the brush had too much water. That's okay, just this is why the paper towels are there, to kind of fix that. And now I'll, using the number 4 with just water on it, but taking off as much water as I can, I'm going to go in and do my lines ever so lightly. These ones I'm going to start from here, so it looks like it's a petal on the back. In the foreground, I mean. No, background, not foreground. Same thing here. And you want to just have it trail off, so it doesn't look like it ends abruptly, the line. There we go. And then I'll give some here in a different direction. Perfect. So we've done this, now we can move on to the next one. See if you can kind of get some blend happening with the green and the pink. I know I'm a little late in saying this, but if you can, great. Otherwise we can try and catch it here. Sometimes it's hard. It's all about timing, like I was saying. All right, so we're going in back to do the next one over here. And because it's so kind of close together, we don't want it to look too clumped up. Let's try and really get another shade of pink or purple or mauve or whatever you're using. Just try and get a slightly different shade of it so it doesn't look like it's going to blend in. and look like one. So whether that involves adding a little bit of purple to your red or a little bit of blue, try something and let's lay it down. So again, we're just adding loose strokes. I'm going to add more of the Madder Lake red to mine. So I'm touching the green. It was too much green there, and it blended in looking all red. So I'm just taking some off. There we go. And now going in with the mop, making sure we don't have too much water on it. We're going to go in and quickly make some strokes. Take advantage of the fact that it's still damp. Have the water running nicely. I just love seeing that blend. It's what people call satisfying to watch, I believe. And I think this is where the therapeutic part of watercolor comes in. So moving your water down, and if you want to make a if you want to make like a shadow effect almost, you can kind of go in lightly with the color and just add it in this area so it looks different from this floral here. And then again, just going back in with your squirrel mop brush to just kind of blend in some of the color very lightly. And now I'm just going to add some for the background. So I'm just getting a very light amount of pink on here, and I'm just going to add it so it looks like a petal in the background, but very, very lightly so it doesn't look too overwhelming. And then you can dab off any excess water if it's too blotchy. And I'll just add a touch of the pink. I know it looks dark, but this is where you can kind of go in and blend. Same thing here, just blending it a little bit. And just giving it some good shape. And then I'm just dabbing some color off so it doesn't mix with the foreground. And we're good. I'm just adding some at the tip again. If it's still damp, it'll kind of catch nicely. If not, that's okay. Yep, so that's that. Now we're going back in with the number 4, and we're going to finish doing the branch that was up there and any other loose ends that require this brown. So going back into my dark brown, and I am going to kind of touch up certain areas here and there. Now these magnolia blossoms have a lot of these little protruding buds. I'm assuming they're leaves. I don't know if anyone knows more about the tree. You can feel free to share in the comments or in the chat, I mean. But you can add them sporadically all over the place. But I'm just going in to kind of touch up things. And I see this area doesn't have too much green, so I'm just going to add some green. The green with that pink kind of really adds something nice to the whole painting as an overall effect. So I'm just adding more brown here as well. And then adding some here. And then we have to continue with this right here. So I think I can see it. Can see the line, so we're just going to go ahead and add that. And this is where the the drawing or the light, yeah, the light directional drawing helps because now you know exactly what is supposed to go where. So, and let's have it just taper off, so that's okay. And I just wanted to add some green to these tips at the top here. Like, because the beauty about this little green with this brown, and I think it's absolutely stunning, is that it's a tiny hint of this green against this stark brown. And it just makes everything pop like next level when you really look at it. So I love it. Okay, so now we can move on to this one. Again, we're using the same brown. So mixing it right off from my palette itself. I'm gonna go ahead and create this area here. I just don't want my arm going over this way, so let me try and readjust some things on here. And we'll start the painting. So I'll start from the top down. So lightly putting on my, by lightly I mean my strokes. Just lightly going back and forth and just kind of adding the brown to the sheet of paper. And then because this is still damp, I want to take advantage of that and get some of my green directly on there and have a nice blend. And by doing this, you're also kind of eliminating adding a third color, a third color to your branches, because the mixture of the green and the brown also kind of add its own browny, mustardy color, which is also present in this tree or flower. Again, going back in with the green, just making sure I have enough, mixing some more. And going in here and adding some here. And then just a little bit there. And then continuing with our strokes. So I'm going to leave this for now and head on to do this floral right here because I want the dampness to still kind of be effective. So I'm using some of my pre-mixed pinky purple that I have, and I'm just going to add some strokes towards the center. So from top, pushing the color to the bottom, leaving white space. You can touch some of the green if you wish, and then going in with your squirrel mop brush, making sure that you touch and drag to the top, push the color down to the bottom. Same thing for all the other petals. And the aim is to make sure you get it before the color dries. So that's why I'm kind of hurried, because in previous ones it kind of dried, and you can still see some of them kind of drying here, the strokes. Leave white space. It really adds something nice to your painting, and just add some loose strokes while it's still damp. As the background petals, and then you can just dab any excess water that you have. And then we're just going to highlight some areas here at the bottom. And let it run. Let the color run, I mean. So let it do that work for you. And then once we have that, we can kind of just go in with the mop again and just give more definition to certain petals so it doesn't look like one big blob. So I'm just taking the mop brush and pushing the color down to kind of outline where the petals start and end. There we go. And then going in with my number 4, and I'm just washing off the excess brown that I have on it because I'm sharing it for the brown. And I'm just going to add my lines. So giving it some nice texture and pushing the color down. And usually they're quite thin and like close to each other. So if you can get that, kudos to you. I'm just trying to make sure I get everything happening before it dries up. So I'm slightly hurried. And then I'll do the same thing here. And I love this effect because it's so subtle. I mean, I did it in the Star Lily tutorial that I just put out yesterday, I believe. And because the Star Lily also has like these indicative lines happening on it, not quite as dark as the Magnolias, but I absolutely love the effect that it shows, or how it shows up. It adds this texture to your painting. And then finally one more. Yeah, there we go. And that's it. And now we can do our buds. And for the buds, again, we're going to use the same technique where we're adding color to the bottom and then taking the mop brush and just having, with just water on it, and having it flare up. So making sure I got some color on here, just pushing the color down in light strokes, and then taking the mop brush and just flaring it out. There we go. And then you can add some more color to the bottom if you want it to be darker. Same thing over here. What was I using for that? Yes. Same thing here. Just going to use some darker purple here. And then using the mop brush, very little bit of water, just dragging from down up, leaving some white space in between, and kind of pushing the color around. And then finally going back in with the number 4 while this is still damp to get some of your brown, and just adding that brown to the tip here. Same thing over here. Making sure your brown is in all the spots that you want, because the next thing we're going to be doing is adding the green. And for that I have my number 8 Princeton ready with the green. So I'm just going to touch some green here and in these little spots in areas. There we go. And just making this slightly thicker. There we go. All right, so this is the whole painting. One thing I noticed that we didn't do is the texture here for the lines, but it's already dried. However, it does work sometimes. So let's just see what happens if we just take the number 4 with water and kind of go down, creating the lines. Will it still be effective for us? It doesn't look very, very bright, but I do see the lines. And because it's watercolor, I do believe that it'll dry off, showing these water stains, so to speak. So thankful for that, because even if this is a lot lighter than this, that's okay, because I don't want them to look like they blend in. So this is also kind of creating a division between the two florals, and that's nice. So yeah, okay, so there we go. So this is how it's turned out. Yeah, what do you guys think? I like how it's turned out. I'm just going to read your comments really quickly. Hi, Rosalia. Yes, Beverly, isn't it a game changer? The squirrel mop brush is absolutely amazing. I cannot speak highly enough about it. Judith, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I get inspired by you guys actually coming to join me, so I guess it's a give and take. Chocolate cream love. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it does look like cherry blossoms, but this was more of an attempt to do magnolias. But they're kind of very similar. Yeah, I hear you. Donna, thank you. I'm glad you like how it's turning out. All right, guys, so tell me in the chat, if you would like to add more florals to this, or do we like how this has turned out and just call it quits? I think we should just call it quits because this is nice. And you can actually continue after and add your own florals, like the magnolias itself, and kind of practice some more. I love how these have turned out, and if we added some more up here too, I think it would look quite nice. So yeah, I think I've talked myself into saying let's just end here. So I hope you guys have liked this tutorial. Let me show you the really quickly before I say bye, show you the lily, the star lily I was talking about that I posted earlier this week. This is what it looks like. Check it out if you haven't already. I actually did this twice because I got florals for my birthday and I really, really liked the flowers, so I was inspired. So this was the first one, and it was a lot more detailed. I didn't really like it too much, but after I did this one and I went back to look at it, I kind of like both. So I'll be posting this one this week, so stay tuned for that video, and you can try both. One's light, one's dark. Yeah. So that's it, guys. This is all I have for you today. Thanks so much for joining in. Feel free to tag me in your creations on Instagram and Facebook. I love hearing from you guys, so thank you so much for engaging. And if you're not comfortable, absolutely, I totally understand. It's just, I love seeing your work. So thanks, guys, and have a lovely, lovely Sunday. We will chat soon. Bye.